go out there, here and there, and I could hear a little voice come through, and I'd try to punch through, you know, and they would let me go because they couldn't hear me, you know. I mean, they know I'm there, but that was about all, you know. So I went and bought that high gain, that 3-element autobander, and boy, when I put that up at 45 feet, I could not believe what was coming in. The whole band was loaded with people, and all kinds of S units, you know. And so that's where I went into it, but I still had the wire antenna that I used it for 40 and 80. Used to have a nice group up there, or down there, I should say. But then I kept going back and forth, you know. It just wasn't no comparison, you know. They said, oh, you know, this is it. I'm sticking to the beam, of course. And with an amplifier, you know, you kind of almost make your own DX. We all know that the propagation has a final say-so, but, you know, even if it's just a little teensy bit, I will talk and I will make that contact, which I couldn't do with the fire antenna. But you can only do what you can do, and you can only afford what you can afford. But, you know, Jerry, you mentioned it, I don't know the price of the 2-element stepper, you know. I don't. It might be a very big difference, but I have made a few contacts, one out of Maine, and that guy was blowing my socks off over here, you know? And we was on 20 meters, and he was hitting me. I don't remember exactly, I would have to guess, but I know it was very impressive. 20 dB is not impressive to me, you know, on this radio. Just about anybody can hit me 20 dB. But, you know, when you get into the 40s, I always remember those, you know, 40s and 45s, you know, that's when the signals were really serious, and this guy was hitting me hard. And I talked to a fella close to pond, a European, you know, the last sunspot, and he was running a 2-element, and he was very impressive. So, you know, I'm not going to, see, I got the 3-element. I didn't want to go with a great big one. I like to sleep at night, but, you know, I don't know. I've been seeing these 2 elements really do some good as well. Over.
Well, they got to beat a wire anyway. I mean, that's the biggest thing, is to be able to hear. And especially, you know, when you're at the peak of the cycle, if you, let's say Japan's on one frequency on 20, and you can't break the pile up, well, there's going to be 2 or 3 or 4 others up and down the band. Same as 10 meters. I mean, you know, when the cycle's at its peak, you can't break one pile up, you'll find another one and generally get through. But this is the time where a guy like yourself, compared to me, is making hay and making contacts because the bands are crappy. And there might only be one DX station from that country on at a time, and the pile-ups are huge. And you can hear them where I can. I mean, I've got a couple friends in the city with small antennas, WA4VY Cushcrafts, which is kind of a compromised all-band HF antenna, but it's got a little bit of gain and directivity. And my one friend that's just a couple miles away, I hear him work stuff on 20 meters, and you know, he's, oh, you're 5'9", and you know, they might be S4 to me. And sometimes I can't even copy them on the wire where he's hearing them. And if you can't hear them, you can't work them. So that's, to me, the biggest advantage. Like I say, you can't hear them, you can't work them. So even that small 2-element, I'm sure would be a huge improvement on what I have here with even just vertical on 10 meters and the wires on HF. But like you say, you got to work with what you have, and this is the time where I really notice it. Once the cycle peaks, I love this band. This is a band 10 and 15 are where I'm really going to hang out, and I will get on the other bands 20, and I really like 17, and I do okay there. Once the cycle peaks, I'll be making contacts left and right, but it's at the low end is where I really notice it, that man, you know, I see all this DX spotted on the cluster, and I tune to it, and 90% of the time I can't hear it, and it really gets aggravating. I agree on the big signals. That's a lot of fun. 6 meters is probably by far my favorite band. I've got a 4-element Yagi there, and some of this E-skip that we get is just super strong. We had one a couple weeks ago. I forget where the guy was. I think the East Coast or something. He was literally 50 over 9, gave me a 60 over 9, and with the E-skip on 6, same as this band, you can get some signals like that, and it's just a lot of fun to see them huge signals there, Paul. WA4VY, VE3TMG.
Yeah, VE3TMG, WA4VY returning. Well, I remember one time, I got a 3-element, I think it's a Cushcraft board for 6 meters. Now, because I got a 706 Mach 2.